Hello, my loves. Thank you so much for being here. On this channel, we're talking about rapidly and radically healing from narcissistic abuse cycles and trauma, transforming our lives, becoming manifestors of our true purpose on the planet, our fulfillment, our joy, our abundance, right? Learning how to be great co-creators, manifestors with the divine, come into our spiritual truth and purpose, and free ourselves of these chains. And I made a video yesterday talking about my new apartment, right? And I want to just make something very clear, because this video is called Trusting Ourselves, Life and Others After Narcissistic Abuse. I left home at 18, coming from a narcissistic household, right? My home, I'm an introvert. I'm a highly sensitive empath, like to the nth degree, which means that like my home's always been so important to me. A place where I can shut the door, have, you know, things that ground me, around me, where I can come into myself, into my own energy, right? When I came to America 6 years ago, I got an apartment that I really liked. I'd always had nice homes. I bought my first house in London when I was 26. I actually used all the money I invested in that to come over here and just be considered for the visa, which I got, but it also cost me all my savings. So I'd come to follow a calling that I had. I didn't really understand at the time. But and I got my first apartment out here, which I lived in for a couple of years. But at that time, so again, these narcissistic abuse cycles started flaring up again after I thought I'd healed from them. Yeah. And at that time, it was showing up in my community and in my business. And like literally, you could track this on a graph. So when I came out here, my income started going up, and then I started being heavily bullied and targeted in my community. And I had some really not very nice people in my I was as clients, and you can just literally see the drop of what happened, because I was going through a huge amount of trauma and being re-triggered through every childhood trauma I had. So I lost that place to live. I rebuilt my life over a number of years, and I got another place. Yeah, got another place, a new home. It took me a few years to do this, and I started, you know, again, rebuilding. But I was now I'd figured things out in my business. I'd started learning more and healing, but now I'm in a relationship with a covert malignant narcissist that I didn't see coming, right? And there's lots between this story. I also got into business and life before I actually understood a lot of the things I know now, with someone who also completely ripped my life apart. It was like I didn't know what I didn't know until I knew. Yeah, and it was everywhere in my life. When you say you can't get away from narcissists, I'm telling you, it was everywhere. There was no way. I was being shown something, but there was no escape. It was relentless in my life. And I lost everything twice. So losing the second home, you know, was just so devastating to me, because it felt like this wasn't just something that happened to me once. This was now becoming something that happens to me, right? Which is not the fucking truth, but it really did affect me in a huge way, because at this point, like, I had healed a lot, but one of my biggest traumas was that it felt like there was no place I could belong, that I didn't have the one thing that people need the most, which is a safe, secure place where they can just ground and be themselves and come home to, right? And so losing that, and then going through a cycle of not knowing how I'd keep a roof over my head, right, was really scary. At a time when I'd just been heavily re-traumatized by a malignant narcissist who knew everything I'd been through, who had literally sat there, not helping me, right? Watched me rebuild my entire life, and then did everything he knew that would completely traumatize me. And then laughed, and the community laughed as, you know, he spread his lies and smirked and bullied me and harassed me. I mean, to the point, I mean, being a woman, I'm not saying this doesn't happen to men, but being a woman in a very vulnerable position, right? You can just imagine, I'm not saying this doesn't happen to men, but women are I can only speak from a woman's point of view, right? And when, I mean, you see the worst of what people can do. You know what I mean? Like, say, sending men to my house to sexually assault me at a time when I'm feeling so vulnerable and unprotected in the world. And it's just me. I've got no one else, right? I trusted him. He was supposed to be the guy. I mean, there's no man I know on the planet that would do that to a woman. Even if you break up, you break up. But like, the way he wanted to destroy me, and then was so proud of it. Yeah, was so proud of it. Watching me build everything up, watching me struggle, didn't help me in the way that he could have done at all. And I didn't ask for it. Because at the time I still had very low values, very low boundaries, very low standards, and I just was happy for someone to love me. And I was buying into his covert narcissist victim story of, well, of all the rubbish, and I was so focused on just trying to rebuild, I wasn't really paying attention to. And I was trapped at the beginning of it as well. I was trapped with him at one point. Then I rebuilt, got my own place, which I got for us, extended all my credit, got in loads more debt. And of course, he didn't honour any of his agreements and set out to destroy me because he could already tell that I was waking up and I wasn't prepared to put up with the third party situations, the lies, the fact that he was still married, that he was supposed to be divorced from, other things, and his fucking shitty behavior. Yeah. So, but I had to literally, it was a big decision. And then everything I built, I had to I lost my home again. I had to choose that. I had to choose to walk away from that relationship. So whatever you're going through, I know what it fucking takes. I know what it takes to walk away. I know what it takes to walk away scared shitless and in a country where I get no welfare. I don't get the housing rights other people get. I don't get food stamps. It's all on me. And when it's all on you and you are, you know what I mean, your own boss, right? And so your business depends on your energy, yeah? And you being well enough to work, I'm not allowed to get a job, right, in this country. So, I mean, it's a really fucking big deal. I went through a lot. And so the home, someone wrote on my post, I love you, by the way, but they said oh, you've got this new home now. You must feel, that's a sense of safety and security. No, the home, to me to be confident enough to trust myself with being able to commit to this was a huge deal. Because again, what I told you yesterday was, that you have a choice to protect yourself and defend your heart, or you have a choice to actually choose to go for your dreams again. I could have chosen an apartment that was okay, that I didn't like that much, but it wouldn't have mattered if I lost it again, right? I chose my dream apartment and I got it, yeah? But it matters. My heart's on the line again. Same as if I fall in love again. Same as if I choose friends again. Same as when I go into my business again. You know what I mean? It matters. I didn't choose to defend myself and choose a mediocre apartment that I wouldn't care about if I lost. I chose the dream. Yeah, and I got the dream, but that wasn't easy for me. That's what I was trying to explain, because the more you love something, and now I'm going to make it beautiful again, I'm going to make it a home again. It's everything I wanted. Yeah, but this has been hard. Because when I was living in the hotels, right, I was comfortable to an extent. I wanted my own home, I wanted my own place, but it was safe. It was safe because if anything went wrong, yeah, I could play it day by day. I wasn't committed to something. I wasn't on the hook at something. I wasn't risking being humiliated and embarrassed if I couldn't afford to keep it again. I wasn't risking investing my heart in something, not just my money, my heart in something that I'm going to make beautiful, that I'm going to enjoy, that's going to mean so much to me, and going through that horrible devastation, yeah, and despair of losing it if it goes wrong. So what I teach in Sovereign is we go through a lot of this emotional intelligence work. Yeah, because the fear of loss holds us back from everything. It will hold you back from being in connection with people. Because if you're on the defense, and most of us don't know how much on the defense we are, we're always going to go for a little bit less. We're always going to hold back. We're never going to put our hearts on the line again. And when you've been through trauma, it's the hardest thing to do. But I don't play in the mediocre shit of life. I want my true life. I want my true connections. The only way I can do that is to open my heart again. And that's what I teach you to do safely. But that has to be with very strong boundaries, standards and values energetically, which is the module we're doing at the moment in Sovereign next week, right? And I don't want a life where I'm holding back because of what happened to me. What happened to me happened to me. It was terrible. But not playing it safe, but I've learned tools to be able to come into my sovereignty, right? So I'm willing to take the risk. And it's not that I ever want to go through that pain again, but if we live our lives avoiding pain, we'll never live our lives, right? So what I've understood is that I'm strong enough to walk with pain if I have to. I'm not choosing it. Yeah, but I've got to be strong enough. I've got to be brave enough. So no, it took enormous bravery for me to take this place because I had to make the commitment again. And that commitment was, I'm going to put my heart on the line. I'm not going for what's I kind of want. I'm going for everything I want. Yeah. And I'm going to have to sit with any parts that come up, which they will. I've healed my trauma. I'm able to do it. But it doesn't mean I'm not human. It doesn't mean my mind isn't going to remember things. Any parts that come up that are going to... I mean, all humans fear loss, fear losing it again and what that could mean for me. Because every time you go through something and it's a big loss, we decide on a subconscious level that something's not available to us. And I don't believe in that. I believe it's available to us. Yeah, I believe I'm emotionally strong enough, intelligently strong enough, and energetically strong enough. And I can, if I'm prepared to walk with the pain, not avoid the pain, so I get to live my best life, right? But this is what it takes. This is why I talk about bravery. So people say, no, you got the home. The lady saying, I love you, by the way, you got the home, that's I suppose such a sense of security and safety. No, the hotel was the hotels I was living in was safety and security, because I didn't have to commit and put my heart on the line for something I loved again. And it was brave of me to choose the best apartment I could have in an area that I never thought I'd even qualify for living in, that is everything I could possibly dream of and more, right? Because my heart's on the line. So when your heart's on the line, if you lose it, it matters so much. When your heart's not on the line and it's an okay place, but you don't really care, it doesn't matter so much. But I'm not playing in defense, and that's what I'm going to teach you, to be energetically strong enough so you don't have to play in defense anymore. You go get your best life, because we've only got one life, and you never get your time back on this planet. But it does require tools, and we're doing it in Sovereign. So if you want to get into Sovereign, this weekend is the cutoff for this round. I highly recommend it. We are not talking about narcissists in there. We are talking about sovereignty, yeah, and what it really takes. And if you want a much better life, there are tools and things I give you there, energetic work as well, that you receive, that will make you strong enough to be able to play again full out, to play again for what you want, not just for what you think you can have, not just to be in defense mode, not just in case it all goes wrong. Yeah, that's not a life. That's not a life. That's avoidance of life. Yeah, we've had enough taken from us. But no, this took me enormous courage. Yeah, I was ready for it. I was ready for it, and I had to call myself out. That's what I was saying in that video. There was a time I was in the beautiful hotel, and I was the reason I mentioned that was because it was this beautiful hotel that I'd booked for the weekend on this marina. And I realized I was bullshitting myself, because what I really wanted was a home. And I was shoving myself in which was a beautiful experience, in this beautiful place. But partly I was kidding myself that, oh, this is just a beautiful way to live. But I was ready for something else. And I just was a little bit scared to go for it. But guess what? Here we're going to go for it again, and I'm going to show you how to code for safety. That's what I've been doing in Sovereign as well. Safety does not come from your apartment. It doesn't come from your home. It doesn't come from your environment. It doesn't come from the world. Yeah, when you code for safety, you become emotionally safe in your feelings. That's what I've been teaching in Sovereign at the moment. When I did that, right, then nothing externally has to be conditional for me to feel safe. And I had to learn emotional safety, coding for safety in my system. Not because I've got a home, not because I know where I'm going to sleep that night, not because I know I'm going to eat, not because someone's not coming at me, not because of anything, but I know how to be safe in my emotions. Coding for safety is the foundation to change your life and will enable you to manifest. And that's what we're doing right now. So this coding for safety means I didn't attach my safe of safety and security to my home anymore. I had to be beyond that. I couldn't attach my sense of safety and security to another human being, right? Which is what you do with the narcissist. Yeah, we have to code for safety within ourselves. Yeah, to be sovereign. This is what this lesson is, and it's hugely powerful. It's in Sovereign. Please come in if you can. This weekend is the cutoff for this round. It will change your life. Yeah, it is like, it's extraordinary. And come in if you can, because like coding for safety internally means that whatever chaos is going on in the world, you have the personal power, the authentic power to feel safe in your body, so your nervous system doesn't end up being a wreck, and no one can violate you in the same way. I had terrible things done to me in my life. Terrible things at the most vulnerable. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe this was humanity. I couldn't believe I had to live in this world. Yeah. But then I came into a higher truth that there is no mud on me, like I teach you, that no one can actually violate me. And when I coded for safety, no predators can come anywhere near me. Not because of my external situations, right? Circumstantial power is the circumstances have to be perfect for me to feel comfortable. Personal power is I don't care what chaos is there. I'm in control of how I feel. And I'm in control of what I create in my life. I'm sovereign. Yeah, lots of love, guys. Please email me to join, and I'll speak to you soon.